I went to a party with my boyfriend of 8 years when someone asked about us getting married, and he humiliated me in front of everyone by saying that if I ever wanted marriage, I should just move on and find another man, even though he knows that I don't even want to marry him in the first place. Posted by you/only measurement 3247. I, 44F, live in a small town, population about 2,000. I've been dating my boyfriend, 52M, for 8 years. We were at a holiday party in December with probably 200 guests. Someone asked when we were planning to get married. BF said never. People continued to press the subject, so I said that neither of us wanted to get married currently, but if that changed, we'd be sure to let them know. Then BF said, if you ever change your mind about marriage, don't bother talking to me about it. Just move on and find a man who wants to marry you. Everyone was staring. I cried. We went home. He has brought it up a couple of times since then, but it's not really something I see a point in discussing. He's made it clear from day one that he doesn't want to get married. I don't want to either. I wouldn't have said what he did in public, but it's the truth. The way he said it embarrassed me, and it hurt my feelings that he was so flippant about breaking up and going our separate ways after 8 years of being in love, but again, it's nothing I didn't know from private conversations. Every Tuesday, we have dinner with friends at this Mexican restaurant. So last night at dinner, a guy that I know socially from living in the same small town walked up and said that he knew I was exclusively dating BF, but he just wanted to say that I should call him if I ever decided that I wanted a serious relationship. Then he looked at BF and said, nothing personal, man. I know we go way back, they are about the same age and hung out in high school and in their early 20s, but if she ever decides she wants more than casual dating, it would be over between you two anyway. After we got home, BF was upset with me for not making it clear that we have more than a casual relationship. I told him that I wasn't the one who made our relationship status unclear, and if he felt something was unclear or misunderstood, he could have set things straight himself. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. LMFAO, the balls on that guy are genuinely impressive. I mean, are you interested? I kinda think you should be, lol. Your boyfriend is temporary, this seems as good a jumping off point as any. Ops response. He's good looking, successful, smart, funny, never married, no kids. Was a bit of a womanizer when he was younger, but he's made it pretty clear in the past few years that he's looking to settle down and get married. Checks a lot of boxes if a girl was looking to get married. I'm just not. Downvoted commenter 2. If you truly were looking to not be married, your boyfriend wouldn't have made you cry when saying, if you ever want to get married, you can go find that. However, your boyfriend seems like a douche, I'd leave his bum. Ops response. I promise you I most definitely do not want to get married again. I cried because I was embarrassed by what he said, by the way he said it, and the impression that he gave everyone, that not getting married was not a mutual decision and was something that he decided, and that I was sitting around hoping he'd change his mind or trying to convince him. Commenter 3. Apparently, that guy heard about what your boyfriend said at Christmas and decided to make a point to the boyfriend. Ops response. You know, there is probably something to that. I work in an office open to the public. I'm not a hard lady to speak to privately. You could literally call my office and ask to speak to me, and I'd return the call, or you could make an appointment to see me by calling the receptionist. Commenter 3. He was sending a message by doing it in front of the boyfriend. I'm not saying he doesn't want to date you, maybe he does, and maybe he doesn't. But he thinks your boyfriend is a craphead, and he wanted to make sure your boyfriend knows that he doesn't approve of that attitude. Commenter 4. After we got home, my boyfriend was upset with me for not making it clear that we have more than a casual relationship. It doesn't sound to me like you do. Sorry. You can tell what you are to someone by how they introduce you and how they talk about you to others. Ops response. No sorry here. We are both okay with how things are. I certainly never want another man to have access to my hard-earned money or to be responsible for their debt. Commenter 5. My wife and I, 24 years in June, have a hers ours account, and it works well. If y'all live together, I'm assuming that you split the finances somehow? Do you have all of your other ducks in a row? Make sure of it. We found the $25 marriage license much cheaper than the thousands it would have cost otherwise. Ops response. So I posted it as a reply to someone else. I don't know if you read it, but our plan was hers ours, durable medical power of attorney, wills, he promised my kid he'd adopt them, etc. The cost of all those things was one of the reasons we initially agreed to put off doing it until we found a house to buy. The lawyer was going to do all that at once and handle the title transfer, title insurance, etc. Just the nature of housing in a small town, we looked at every house on the market in town for 3 years before we found our dream house. And then he backed out and said he wasn't sure about any of that because he wanted to protect his son's inheritance. That was the moment things changed for me. It was definitely a before and after. His mom probably accidentally had a lot to do with his change of heart. Ironically, she and I had a great relationship. I'm very low contact with my biological family, and she was as good as could be to me and my children. She didn't include them in her will as grandchildren, but just prior to her death, she gave them each a $15,000 gift, which is what she gave her grandchildren in her will. But BF's brother married a woman she felt was a gold digger. He adopted her adult children to make sure they inherited equally to his biological children, and Mom was pretty set on that not happening. She locked his inheritance in a trust to benefit him and his biological children and made her daughter the executor of the trust, very clearly telling her to prevent him from wasting the money on his wife and adopted kids. Sorry, sister-in-law, you can't take your adult children on a tour of Europe on mother-in-law's dime. I think the resulting family drama really stuck with BF and had a lot to do with his changing his mind and sudden concern for protecting his son's inheritance. It's funny because she and I had a great relationship, and she gifted me a large part of her jewelry collection, probably equal to what she gave her daughter and way more than she gave her daughters-in-law. She also made it clear, in writing, that everything she gave me was a gift to me and not part of her son's inheritance. For the duration of our relationship, we just split the bills between us, with him paying some and me paying some. We just tended to work other things out. If we went on vacation, I might pay for lodging and he might pay for food. Or if we went on a cruise or an all-inclusive, he might pay for that and I'd pay for airfare and extra stuff. He drove way more than me, so I'd usually pay the down payment when he got a new car. Update 1 month later. After posting, I did a lot of reflecting on our relationship. One day, I just packed what I had at his house and brought it all to my house while he was at work. When he came home, I told him that I had moved my things out and I wasn't going to be around anymore. I gave him his house key. BF feels blindsided by my moving out. He doesn't understand how we went from happy and peaceful to me moving out and living an hour plus away when essentially nothing changed. I still have feelings for him, but it wasn't nearly as painful as I expected it to be. I have too many hard feelings towards him for the way he treated me and my kids, especially in the beginning of our relationship, to try to salvage anything between us. And I most definitely have too much resentment towards his youngest son, 24M, to ever consider working on things and trying to be anything that resembles a family with either of them. 8 years, and I packed everything I had there in 2 hours, like I was never there. During the first couple of years, I did tell him how he made me feel, but his answer was always, "This is the deal, take it or leave it." It took 8 years, but I decided to leave it. I suppose at some point, I emotionally checked out of the relationship and just sort of let things be. Many of the issues have just sorted themselves out with time, but the underlying hurt is still raw. My house really doesn't feel like home to me anymore. I've been staying with my children, who are away from home attending college. I've completely moved out of my house, and I officially put it on the market last Friday. For now, I'll just commute to work until I figure out what I want to do going forward. /relevant comments. Commenter. Honestly, the fact that you guys have been dating for 8 years and it took you less than 2 hours to pack is very telling. This guy did not give you space or respect in his life. Ops response. I always maintained my own home in town, and I honestly loved the house I bought for my college-aged kids. I moved all of my life treasures there when I bought it. I had mostly clothes and toiletries at his place. My mail didn't even come to his house. Commenter 2. Please. Give yourself some time and TLC. You've made a mess load of changes in your life. Find your new nest, and see how you feel living in your own skin for a while. Indulge in cocoa and a few good books. Head out to a plant nursery or arboretum and enjoy the smells and colors. Are your kids making any commentary? Glad you're spending some time with them. Not the jerk, and congratulations. Ops response. I'm sure I'll stay in this house. I loved it when I bought it and still love it now. My son is very supportive, but he's a bit of a mama's boy. He wouldn't be anything else. He has no opinion about anything to do with XBF. He just thinks it would be nice if I cook pot roast for dinner. He's bringing his girlfriend? Thanks. My daughter thinks that at some point, the ex and I need to have a conversation to achieve closure. His younger son has also reached out to her. She has essentially put them both in timeout until they are ready to have respectful conversations and give real apologies. For what it's worth, I'm also in timeout. She gave me the same kind of talk I used to give her about timeout not being a punishment but a time to process strong emotions, reflect on how our actions contributed to the entire situation, and decide what we need to do to move forward. That may not be something you can do in a few minutes or even a whole day. Once you are feeling calmer, you can rejoin us, but you are still going to have to spend some quiet time with this to sort things out. And I'm always here to talk and listen, but this isn't something I can do for you. We will revisit this in 5 minutes and then talk about it before bed tonight, and then daily so I can help you until you get things sorted out. So that's where we are, daily conversations. Commenter 3. And I most definitely have too much resentment towards his youngest son, 24M, to ever consider working on things and trying to be anything that resembles a family with either of them. Info. Ops response. My husband died. I was a single mom. BF's youngest was 17 when we introduced our kids. He hated me and my children and did anything he could think of to cause us misery. I can't think of everything, but if we were planning to go out to dinner and invited him, sometimes he'd refuse to come if we went. Like he'd say that he'd have dinner with his dad only, and if his dad said, "Okay, let's have dinner just us tomorrow," he'd start with the guilt until BF broke our plans. The last time he did that, he was 20 or 21, so definitely not a kid. One year he threw a fit at Christmas because he got wind that his dad had gotten my kids a few things. I had bought stuff for him and his older brother as well. He was 19. BF returned the stuff he got my kids and told me to do the same. Said from then on, we'd each only buy for our own kids. For his 21st birthday, he had a party at a restaurant on the day I got off late. He told them one less person than needed when he made the reservation, so when I arrived, there was no place for me to sit. We went on a vacation that I paid for and invited him on, and he threw a fit because his dad was paying attention to everyone and insisted that he was leaving if BF didn't leave the Airbnb I rented and rent them their own hotel room, and not see us until the end of the trip, which BF did. We didn't see each other until we got home. Thank goodness my son had driven his car, because my daughter and I had ridden with BF. He would randomly call and tell his dad he wanted to hang out at his house for a bit but wanted me and my kids to leave. BF told us to go out to dinner or something, and he'd text when we could come back. I'm ashamed to say I did once, before I put my foot down and told BF if we left, we wouldn't be coming back. Probably a dozen or more times after that, he still called and tried and threatened to never speak to BF again. Probably more stuff, but you get the idea. Op adds an edit to her post. First, let me say that I'm absolutely amazed by all your kind words and well wishes. I can't believe how kind and supportive you guys have been. I'll address a couple of the common comments/questions. First, I guess the most popular is about the guy from the Mexican restaurant. I've spoken to him since, but it's not the fairy tale ending you guys are dreaming of. I'm definitely not in a place where I'm ready to date, and I can't remember his exact words, but the gist was he'd be happy to take me out sometime, but he was just being a prick too. BF on purpose because of what he said at the party and other things he'd seen BF do over the years. Very anticlimactic, I'm afraid. Although he does frequently work around where I'm living, so who knows what the future holds. Second, financial concerns. If you guys want to take back all your "I'm proud of you" comments, I understand. I really have no excuse for staying. I'm well educated. I earn a good living, well above 6 figures. I wasn't always, but I literally spent 20 years going back to school time and time again. For the past few years, I've made significantly more money than ex-BF. I really have no excuse for why I stayed so long.